Well, so the demonstration is about cloud deployment. In fact, it's not only cloud deployment, but it's deployment in general of applications on multiple targets, which can be cloud IaaS, like Amazon EC2, or embedded targets, like that Beagle board. Just have one here inside. Okay. So we deploy application on multiple targets, in fact. That's the plan. Well, so that's the big picture of what we are currently working on. Okay. The objective here in our team, in fact, we have people who are working on data analytics, on the big data problems. Okay, so they try to make some prediction based on big flows of data. Okay, so for that, they work with technologies like MapReduce, like some real-time data flow management. Currently they use Storm to do that. Some NoSQL databases like MongoDB or Cassandra. So the kind of technology that are getting mainstream now in the cloud arena. Okay, so where do these data come from? They can come from multiple sources, but one of these sources here in the use case is gateways to sensors, in fact. For example, it can be boxes deployed in a user's home, okay? So you can have all your home management data gathered at the level of your box, of your communication box, and then sent to the network, for example. So one example we are currently working on is about consumption prediction for electrical devices. So we have some sensor data from smart plugs in the home, and we take every second some data from multiple houses and try to establish predictions starting from that. Okay, so our problem here is to deploy and configure dynamically, and if necessary, reconfigure the whole stuff. So we have multiple problems, okay, issues. The first one being the multiple scale from embedded systems to worldwide clouds. Another problem is that we have more and more devices to address because of the Internet of Things that emerges. So we need to be as much as possible elastic and adaptive because, for example, we have to dynamically add or remove components. It can be according to load patterns or according to failure of some components or that kind of stuff. We have to adapt data flows, for example, to load balance, if necessary, across multiple platforms. And we will also have, in the long run, optimization problems that can be, for example, co-location of services or separation of services and that kind of classical problems. Okay, and last but not least, and that's what we are currently working on with RoboConf, is the resolution of dependencies, of dynamic dependencies at runtime. Because when you deploy something, you need some information from other modules that can be deployed anywhere on the network. Because to configure yourself, you need to know where to send the data, you need to know the IP address of the messaging server, that kind of stuff, okay, which is not given when at deployment time. It's a runtime dependency, okay. So we have to exchange configuration information on a real-time basis. It's just like, for example, for those who know the platform, in OSGI. When you deploy something, you have some dependencies that concern the bundles from the outside, from the outer space, okay, from somewhere else. On these dependencies, you don't know them at the deployment, at the moment when you deploy the system. They can be resolved later when the bundle arrives. So we have the same problem here. We deploy some software everywhere, and it has to configure itself when the dependencies get resolved. So that's an example from our data scientist. He gave me that big picture of what he's doing with Storm. So he has a chains of data flow management. Okay, he makes some scientific calculation at each level. So it's a chain, it's a calculation chain. And he has some problems of bottlenecks sometimes, okay, because some algorithms can be more complex than others, or some data flows can be more important at some times. And when he detects a bottleneck somewhere, his problem is to, as much as possible, parallelize to resolve the problem, okay? And when the flow shrinks, to get back to the previous situation. How can we address that kind of problem with RoboConf? So RoboConf, in fact, has different pieces. It's a kind of infrastructure to deploy smartly software components. Okay. So what we suppose at the beginning is that we can deploy anything. It's dedicated for legacy software. Okay. We can deploy a Storm, a database, MySQL, whatever you like. So we deploy that on a network of VMs, in fact, okay, which are components as well. So we see we have a slight difference between a target VM and the software component, but globally, the formal view is the same. In fact, it's a component, and we have a graph of components that can contain each other. Okay, it's a kind of tree or graph of components that can contain each other. A VM can contain a software bundle that can be itself a container that may contain other bundles, and it can be unlimited. Well, so we have a graph of components, which is the application model. So we describe it. We have some files to describe the application model. Okay, it's a graph of components with dependencies. So these components export or import configuration variables, just like an OSGI bundle can have some import or export of dependencies. It's the same idea. Okay, and the application model also comes with a description of an initial deployment, okay, which is the set of component instances we deploy when we start. When we send the application to RoboConf, it deploys the first set of instances. Then maybe later we can instantiate more components or remove some components dynamically, but there is a first state of the application. So that's the model. This model is processed by a RoboConf component which is called the deployment manager, which is currently packaged in a web app, in fact. The deployment manager addresses first VMs, where to deploy, okay? So when it's that kind of VMs or a static machine, of course, it doesn't have to instantiate it, it already exists. But when it is when the model says that the software, the components must be deployed on a YAS, the deployment manager may have to instantiate virtual machines previously to deploying the application. Okay, so it will do that when necessary. Then, when the architecture is there, when the infrastructure is there, it will deploy the model, the application, okay, including, of course, the initial deployment, and including as well the software packages that can be either packaged in the application model I can have my jar files or anything, my data which are packaged in my application model. Or it can also use the mechanisms of configuration that are provided by the host operating system. For example, it can resolve dependencies based on RPM systems. Okay, on Linux, you can issue some apt get to obtain software packages from the network, from the internet. Then the last component of RoboConf is the agent. So the agent is, in fact, to make all the PCs communicate all together. RoboConf uses asynchronous communication. Okay, currently it uses RabbitMQ, which is a system of it's like it's a messaging system like GMS. Okay, it's queue on topic. It's based on publish subscribe pattern. Okay, so it uses asynchronous communications, and the component that is the listener. Okay, that listens to this asynchronous communication topics is called an agent. And the prerequisite for RoboConf is to have one agent on every target. Okay, so I will have here, I have to pre-install, currently I have to pre-install it, an agent, a RoboConf agent on my target. Okay, of course, when it's on a YAS, I pre-build on image. For example, I have an Amazon image of a system with the agent installed. Okay, so that image will be instantiated by RoboConf when it has to deploy some software on an Amazon VM. So when RoboConf deploys something, the deployment manager has the application model. So here what I have is something that looks like the application model of my demo, in fact. I have a VM, which is the Beagle board here, this one. Okay. I have an Amazon Web Services VM. I will deploy an OpenHAB instance on the Beagle. So OpenHAB is the platform, the Eclipse platform, I think, for home management on the sensor systems. Okay, it's based on OSGI. And I will install an MQTT instance server on my Amazon Web Service VM. So that's my description of the initial deployment. I have an instance of Beagle VM with an instance of OpenHAB embedded in it. Okay, so I have its initial configuration here, its name on HTTP port and maybe some other parameters. And I have an instance of Amazon Web Services with an instance of MQTT server on it. Okay. So did I forget something? No, I did not. It's here. So of course, here what I'm going to do is to send some data, some sensor data, okay, on the MQTT queue. In fact, that's the demo scenario. I will tell you more about it later. So that's why I need both an OpenHAB on one side and the MQTT on the other side. And of course, my OpenHAB needs to know where to send the data. So it needs to know where is the MQTT server. So I need the IP address of that MQTT server. So I tell that component that it should export its IP address. And I tell this component that it should import MQTT.ip address. Okay, so that will get exchanged on the queue, on the message queue of RoboConf. It will be exchanged between the RoboConf agents that run on the VMs. Okay, So I will have my Beagle, which is, I should say, one VM or equivalent. I will have a new VM instantiated on Amazon Web Services with my MQTT on it. And when everything is up and running, the IP address will be exchanged between the two agents. And that system will get configured. Then it can start. When the dependencies are resolved, it can start. So that's the demo scenario. I already talked about it. So some houses, I just have one, but some houses, it was easier for me not to have a switch with a lot of stuff. So I have some houses that send some data, okay, to MQTT server, MQTT broker. This one I will put on Amazon. And then I have a local here. I will have to start it manually, but I have a local data visualization application that connects to the MQTT broker and obtains the data. It subscribes to the topic and it displays the data coming from the sensor. So that's exactly the demo scenario. My client, which is a web browser, will push the application, so all the stuff, all the files with the application model, okay, on the RoboConf deployment manager, which will deploy on each part, okay. So here it will start a new VM on Amazon, okay, and it will deploy the MQTT server. Here it will deploy OpenHAB with my simulation data on the Beagle, okay. So then this one has no dependencies. It's just an MQTT server, so it will start. It's ready to start. This one is not yet ready to start because it is expecting an external dependency, which is the IP address of my MQTT server. Okay, so the agent, which is here, the RoboConf agent, will export the IP address of the MQTT server. And my agent here will obtain it from the export-import topic of RoboConf, okay? And when it obtains all its dependencies, it can start, okay? So when it starts, it publishes sensor data on MQTT. In fact, not really immediately. I have to contact the OpenHAB web server to tell it to start sending data. But I will have the web server up and running here, and then I can start the data flow. And when it's started, I just have to subscribe to the topic on my new VM here to visualize the data. I will try to run the demo. Okay, so here is my card, in fact. I see something. Yes. So here I'm on the Beagle with the RoboConf agent running, in fact. Here. It's inside. So what I will do is I have my screen is here I'm on EC2. I see my EC2 instances. So currently I should have just one instance running, which is my RoboConf messaging server. It's the RabbitMQ system. Okay, so it's the message queue on which I will exchange configuration data between the agents. Okay, so my agent is connected to that. You see the IP address here, 138. My agent is connected to this one here. Okay, so it's expecting some data from this one. So I will take the RoboConf deployment manager, the web administration, and I will deploy my new application. I will deploy my application model, in fact. OpenHAB MQTT. I upload it on the system. So I should see the data, okay, on the card. So the agent receives the part of the application that concerns him. I should also start on EC2 instance to put the MQTT queue, so the MQTT server. Okay, so now it's starting, pending, you see it. And when it gets up, I should receive the data with the IP address on the card here, so that I can configure and start the OpenHAB server. Because no, I can't. I don't know where to send the data. So I don't start the application yet. So when the system starts, I receive everything, okay? When the system starts on EC2. So now I should have everything which is maybe not yet up and running, but it should be at least starting. Normally, I should see that on my deployment manager here. I have applications that are still stopped, but they should be deployed. Okay, so I will have to start them. I will start them. So I should see the application starting here. Yes. Okay, so now I'm starting my OpenHAB server, which should be here when it's this one is the IP address of the card. It's over USB, in fact. So I will try to contact it. Maybe it's not yet started, but it's starting. It's not anymore the can't connect. It's just 404. So it's currently starting. It's a bit long to start OpenHAB on that system. It's not so fast. It takes about 2 minutes, but but it starts. So what I can do while it starts is take my data visualization system. Where is it? I don't see anything. C'est quoi ça? So where is my MQTT server? It's here. MQTT, this one. Okay, I connect my visualization system to the broker. So is it up now? It is. So now I can start my data collection. I have some data here, and I should see them on my local broker. Here I'm connected to my broker and to my MQTT broker. I just put the IP address and started the local server, so I can start my application. And you can see that I have some data arriving on the topic, and I can display them as they arrive. I display 3 of the household cumulative power, in fact. So when I have some power data from one of my household 0, 1, 2, or 3, I display them here. Okay. So of course I can stop my my application using RoboConf here. So now it is started. Of course, it is running. Okay, all my components are running. So if I stop the application, where are my terminals here? The card is, I don't know, here. Okay. I stop it. So I see it should get stopped on the card. Is it done? I don't know. Yes, I think it's done. Stopping the OpenHAB instance. So I should have stopped the OpenHAB instance. Probably that application should be done now. Okay, it doesn't work anymore. And no, I don't. I should not see any more data arriving on the system. And as I stop my application, my EC2 instance, no, it's still there. No, it's still there because I just stopped the application. It's when I remove the application that it should disappear. When I remove the application, I should see my instance on Amazon Web Services shutting down. Okay, so I removed my MQTT server. I removed everything. Well, no, I don't remove everything there. The script can, of course, clean up the open app and everything, but I don't burn the card. It is still there, of course, because I have a physical system. But for the virtual machine, I just shut it down definitely. I terminate it. So that's what RoboConf does. It can also, previously we had a demo showing that, it can also deploy classical applications like free tier web applications with Tomcat, MySQL, on the web app, okay? And then we can show that with an Apache in front, we can show that when we add Tomcat instances, we reconfigure dynamically the load balancer so that the web requests go on one, it's a round robin on one of our Tomcat instances, okay? So we can also make that kind of demo with RoboConf, which was not the object of today. Today it's M2M conference, so it would not be appropriate to do that demonstration, but we can also do that kind of demonstration. So there is still some work, some work to do. It's not, it's still a prototype. I should say it's not yet an industrial system, but we at Linagora we have a partnership with the league, with Noel de Palma and his Herods team, so that they work on their research around RoboConf and cloud deployment, and we work on industrializing the prototype so that we can use it in industrial applications.